The first adaptation of the Love Ru franchise ended with a somewhat satisfying finale, but not much was settled in terms of confessions of love between Rito and his harem. Love Ru Trouble wasn't really a faithful adaptation of the source material, as some story arcs were yet to be brought to the screen. Thankfully, the series is successful and popular enough for a continuation of the story, and I'm glad we have Moto Love Ru. It serves as a proper continuation of the first season, and it also expands the already impressive harem in such a thematic and fun manner that it fits just perfectly with the follow-up fanservice heavy sequel to Love Ru Darkness. In Moto Love Ru, the story continues with the portrayal of numerous events which eventually end up with Rito inappropriately groping his hot female classmates. Also notice how Lala and Haruna aren't as prominent as they used to be. The show seems to attribute more screen time to the other girls of the harem to shine. This was a nice transition between the love triangle of Love Ru Trouble and the upcoming, more faithfully adapted story centered around Yami Darkness.
ちょうど身近に適任者がいるじゃないですか。
Still, the show feels just right, as it is well balanced and presents an engaging story at a fast pace which allows many character arcs to intertwine, even in the same episode. I appreciate how they may try to adapt as much as possible from what was left of the source material. Unlike the first season of Love Ru Trouble, now we seem to have two main events take place in each episode. It makes the show feel like a sketch, more or less. Even so, it is immersive enough to properly bring excitement and fun to the series. It might even represent the structure of the manga a bit better, as it is right now, considering the urgency of each scene to incorporate as much character development and fanservice as possible.
やっぱりゆうきくんって胸が大きい方が好きなのかな。
Just as expected, Moto Love Ru continued the sacred tradition of exposing as much female skin as permitted by numerous fortunate predicaments, usually initiated by the protagonist. I might even say that in this season, most ecchi scenes are done even better than before. The Love Ru series is renowned for its outrageous fanservice and cute girls. And as of now, the second season of Love Ru Trouble has found the perfect balance between character development and its steamy ecchi scenes.
とても楽しいです。
What I like the most about this particular title is its tone. The anime feels like a romantic comedy, while its sequel has a bit of a darker tone and is more focused on drama than ever before. Still, Love Ru Darkness tries to incorporate a more complex story, but it loses the innocence of the other two entries in the franchise. Moto Love Ru is the best one from the series, and I consider it to be so due to its thematic and entertaining way of developing its characters while keeping the light atmosphere of the first season and also preparing the audience for the fanservice, which is sure left to come.
良いことです。
The anime starts as usual with Rito having trouble with the many women in his life. He still hasn't confessed his feelings to Haruna and finds himself unable to end his connection to Lala. Even Rito isn't sure if he wants to break up with Lala or not, considering that on many occasions he had to ask himself if he truly dislikes being engaged to an alien Harley.
もうゴリゴリっす。
Naturally, he didn't give us an appropriate answer. He is, after all, an undecisive harem king. What elevates Rito from other weak and simple-minded main characters is his genuine interest in women and extreme luck he has when it comes to accidentally groping his female classmates.
いつもこんなに優しいのですか。
Trust me, this guy gets a lot of action, despite being shy and innocent. I call it divine intervention,
そうなのか。
as Rito has way too many opportunities to score for it to be humanly possible. Extremely fortunate or troublesome, depending how you see the situation. I consider it to be heaven, but he ain't that excited to have a harem, sadly. The harem idea only became a thing when Momo decided to pimp the other girls for him,
リトさん、大丈夫かしら？
because otherwise, Rita's only trying to survive this wave of estrogen
リトさんなら大丈夫。
that constantly throws his life upside down. That is the main source of his trouble, and she's way too energetic and playful to stay still and not cause a scene every single day. As usual, her inventions malfunction, which results in a bunch of embarrassing situations for both of them. All Lala seems to care about is having fun, and Rita wanted a quiet and uneventful life, which is now anything but that. He's at the center of social calamities and a prime target of interest between the girls. Some only want to use him as a way to prove a point or to challenge Lala to conform to society hierarchy, while others want to get romantically involved with him, and others, very few, simply want to kill him. Yeah, so many things are happening right now for Reito that his dream of a quiet life seems as unlikely as his chances of breaking his engagement to Lala. A shame he does not acknowledge the gift of having a pink-haired exotic hottie as his wife. She often walks around the house naked, and often sneaks into his bed at night. Don't know about you, but this sounds like a dream scenario, if you ask me. Sadly, Rito is still focused on Harna. Again, the whole premise is strikingly similar with the love triangle from Nisekoi,
そうだけど、
although there it was sort of explained why Raku preferred Odenara rather than Chitoge. It makes little sense for Rito not to like Lala, given her kind and playful personality, not to mention her body. I mean, that dude has no idea when it comes to appreciating a fine woman like Lala's Satalin Devi look.
どうやってスタイルを維持してるかって？
そうなんかいい方法があったら教えてよ
The protagonist has fallen for the timid innocent type, which is understandable, considering how even I have liked this particular anime archetype.
へえ
Even so, out of all the girls from the harem, my personal favorite is Yui Kotegawa. She's a class prefect and has a very strict and demanding behavior towards others who don't conform to school rules of conduit.
怪しげなアイテムを学校で使うのも減点没収します
I have a soft spot for girls with an attitude, and Kotegawa is so cute sometimes it was difficult for me not to immediately nominate her as my waifu.
恋なんてアレンジだわ
Also, Love the Trouble has recently been dubbed, which is great news. I always prefer to watch the dub version.
Just a minute. Aren't we showing too much skin?
It feels more immersive in my opinion. I know I'm in the minority on this subject, but I just can't resist from experiencing anime in the most familiar way possible.
どうも。
As I was saying before, each girl from the harem gets a bit more screen time in this season. Some whole sequences center around just one of them in particular. Having Haruna and Lala take up most of the story was to be expected in the franchise, and yet Moto Loveru gives extra care in further developing characters like Hotegao or even Risa. For the first series, Risa has been a somewhat episodic character. She's Haruna and Mio's best friend, also a fellow classmate at the school Rito is attending. Ever since her introduction, she has displayed great interest in teasing other girls from her class. I really like Risa. She's a fun, simple-minded pervert who enjoys talking about naughty things, and above all, she has a fortunate, healthy habit of groping the breasts of other girls from her class. Her usual victim is Haruna, given her prudish personality and feminine body.
昨日春菜のエロい夢でも見たんじゃないのうわ何言ってるのよ
Risa might even swing both ways,
そう
as there are numerous scenes showing her perverted actions towards both male and females. At first, it looked like Risa was only trying to grope the ladies, but as of this season, we learned that she might even be interested in Rita as well. She takes a much closer and bolder approach in teasing him, but it is still unclear that her feelings are genuine or not. Maybe she just simply let herself be carried away by the moment. Another important pair of characters we get to be presented for the first time, if we're not including the ovas. Are Lala's twin sisters, Momo and Nana, did you look? Yeah, I know, a very innovative way to call your girls, Lala, Momo, and Nana. I guess it is implied they're incredibly naive and innocent. But when it comes to Momo, she's as nasty and perverted as Teresa.
私はリトさんの愛人でもいいと思ってるから。
Even more so, as she's the one that will eventually take center stage in Rito's life and proclaim the quest of gathering him a harem.
モモさん、夜中に時々リトの部屋に忍び込んでるでしょ。それならみかんさんもご一緒にいかが？
Some may be fooled by her cute appearance, but the real Momo is above all else highly perverted and nasty. This is a side of herself which she doesn't show to others much. With the exception of Rito, towards whom Momo might even have feelings of love.
ゲームは結構得意なんだ。
モモさん。
Her twin sister, however, has a way different attitude towards the main character. She considers him inferior.
たく、どうしてあんなけだもの。だいたいあいつは姉上の婚約者候補だろ。
He proves to be an even more efficient tsundere than Yui Kotegawa ever was.
なんで？
Nana has a tomboyish attitude and is also impatient, and sometimes even aggressive, much like her twin sister. But underneath her arrogant personality and tough behavior, Nana is actually very kind, helpful, and sensitive. Despite being twins, Nana is less gifted in her feminine charms than Momo, who just loves to tease her because of her flat chest. Momo does have a more developed figure, similar to her older sister, while Nana is far less developed and very sensitive about that.
ごめんなさい、私としたことが。ナナにはブラなんて縁のないものだったわね。
Oh, nearly forgot to mention how Nana has the ability to talk with animals. This is how she finds out that Haruna is in love with Rito as well.
マロンが教えてくれたんだ。マロンが？ダメでしょ。心配しないで。
Also, Haruna's dog, Maron, even gets an episode to narrate his life as a trusted companion of his mistress. The opening song is also amazing as well. It feels just perfect, with a character-driven story, and its lighter comedic tone. I'm glad Moto Love Ru finally brings Lala and Haruna to an understanding. I was kind of afraid the anime will end up with no changes in the main love triangle, and yet I was fortunately wrong about that. By the end of the series, Haruna finally tells Lala that she's as well in love with Rito.
ゆうきくんのことが好き。
This was a nice moment, because as of now, the road towards a real harem was finally open. I give Moto Love Ru an 8.5 out of 10. I'm glad they gave the Love Trouble franchise the opportunity to solidify as one of the greatest harem anime ever made.
よし、決めた。何としても胸を大きくして。